We want to say shout out to our sponsors, Watchman Cigars, Operation Decisive Victory, Webmerized, and Red Hill Brewing Company. Without you, this episode would not be possible. Hey, hello everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast, where it's our take on life, liberty, and the pursuit of gravy, while you, the listener, are invited to come up on the front porch, grab a beverage, and set a spell. We've got a great show lined up for you as always, but before we begin, let me introduce you to our starting lineup. To your left, you're all right on the radio dial. It is Magic Man. He is doing the video and manning the chat for us this evening.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
We're doing great. Thank you for asking. And our illustrious producer, Brian.
Hey.
And, of course, I be your host, Biggun, and how about you? We've got a great show lined up for you, as always, but you may ask yourself, why am I watching the show? What is this show about? Well, let me tell you. It's a show where we are transparent. We like to share our stories, and then we have our guests come on, and we get to hear their stories. So we're all about that. We're all about having fun. Tonight, we're going to have a March Madness chicken bracket, so that'll be fun. Yeah. And our special guest is Britney Pettigrew, my nurse practitioner. She's going to be on the show here in a little bit. Producer Brian, will you tell our folks where they can find us on the socials?
Yes, sir. We are on the Facebooks at Southern Fried Philosophy. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, not YouTube, Twitch, and probably somewhere else at SFP Radio. Is it TikTok? I think that's one too, right? You can always email us at sfpradio@gmail.com. Patreon link is patreon.com/sfpradio if you want to go buy us a chicken sandwich. We are streaming on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and the TuneIn app.
Yes, sir. If you are watching on Facebook Live, we would really appreciate it if you would go over to the YouTubes and just click the subscribe. That would really help us out. Just search SFP Radio, trying to get to 100 listeners. That gives us a little certificate, and we get to actually tell you go to youtube.com/SFP Radio, but we need your help to make that happen. So if you're on Facebook, just go over to YouTube, just hit the subscribe. You don't have to watch a video or anything else like that. It takes maybe 37 seconds. I've timed it, so there's that. So we would really appreciate that. If you're staying at home and you want to do your very own podcast, our producer Brian can help you out. Email him at headlines@SFP Radio. And next week for the show, we have a very special guest, Tanya Thompson. She did 100 days of bourbon on Instagram during the quarantine, so everybody got to fill their time, and she did an awesome job. So if you like bourbon, you're going to want to tune into that episode. So we appreciate that. And next, if you want to be a show sponsor, you want to have your little logo on, you want us to talk about you want us to dish your product, we'll do it. Just shoot us an email at sfpradio@gmail.com. We would really appreciate that. We still need our listeners from North Dakota, Alaska, and Vermont. Those are the last three, and we will have all 50 states. So we are working on that. So hopefully next week we'll have a nice little fun bit for us. So hopefully we'll have some new listeners, and we can stop talking about that. We want to say shout out to our listeners from Egypt. Hey, I don't think I've mentioned Egypt before, have I? You guys remember that?
I don't remember. No. Egypt.
The only thing, when I was a kid, we had King Tutankhamun. I think that's it. He had, his tomb stuff. It was in a museum, and I got to go see that, and that was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, we had Ramses the Great here in Charlotte.
Okay.
Yeah. I got a little blue thing from the souvenir shop. It was like a sarcophagus or whatever.
Do you still have it?
I don't think so. It broke 3 times. I had it for a long time because I don't throw things away. I'm one of those.
Did you put your G.I. Joes in there?
No, it's like a little ceramic.
Oh.
It was smaller than a beer can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh. Do you have any connection to Egypt, Ryan?
No.
No.
Nope. No connections.
All right. Well, there's that. Gentlemen, I'm going to ask you like I ask you every week. Hi, Redern. Magic Man. You got to give me something more than work sucks. You've got to dig deep, my friend. Dig deep.
Dig deep. It was a beautiful day today outside.
There you go. I'm happy about that.
Nice sun, and temperature was nice, and couldn't complain about that. That was great stuff. I wish it could stay like that all the time.
Yeah, I quickly realized my body's not ready for short weather. So
I busted out the shorts first thing this morning. I was like, "Yep, time for shorts. More comfortable."
Quarantine 50.
Yesterday I wore shorts actually. Yeah.
Did you? Yeah. I'll wear like gym shorts at work because I work from home, so that's nice. I just don't like going out in public. Shorts. Just not a short guy.
Sure.
Some people like it, some people don't.
Yeah. There you go.
It's all what you prefer.
So producer Brian, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm nervous to say it's actually spring.
Yeah, it's not. It's not yet.
It's really teasing us though, because it's been nice for like a week or more. Hasn't rained.
70s, high 70s.
Yeah, it's cold in the morning, but that's okay. I can live with that.
Yeah.
I don't leave the house in the morning mostly, so
yeah.
I'm just waiting for the snowfall. That's what I can't.
It'll come, my friend.
It could still happen. It's March. You know how March is. It'll get a bunch of false springs, and then bam, you get a snow. I'm gonna look at the weather here and see what we got.
Yeah,
coming.
I think it's 78s, and then all of a sudden it drops down to like the 60s. So
it's the 60s and 50s for the next several. Yeah, after tomorrow.
Thanks, Weatherman Ryan. Appreciate that.
Hey, maybe I need to start doing that.
It's a weather podcast.
Yeah,
put a little map of Concord behind you.
There we go with the map.
How many clouds do you know? I know cumulus.
Well,
there's a cumulonimbus. There's stratus.
Ooh.
There's
Cirrus.
Simba.
Mufasa.
Yeah, Mufasa.
Yeah. There's
Rafiki.
Puffy clouds and dark clouds.
There's Puff Daddy cloud.
Wall clouds. Puff Daddy clouds. Wall clouds when there's getting ready to be a tornado.
Yeah. Scary dark ones. That's the official term. Yeah. Guys, I tell you, so here's the situation. I mean, we're going through drive-thrus now. So, as we pick up our chicken sandwiches, but I'm a frequent, visitor of the breakfast time. My wife loves it. I love the breakfast time, but I saw something on the drive-thru etiquette that I want to get your opinion on. So I just pull up, there's two cars ahead of me. One of them is ordering her food. Okay. And then the car behind me, she's sitting there, and probably about 15 seconds, she pulls around the car and then gets in line, to pick up her food. And then I was like, what in the world? So the first car then, makes the turn and gets in line. I put in my order and I make the turn. And I see the car that went around, evidently they had like a call-in order. And so they were getting it, but they still had to pay for said call-in order. That's rude, right? To go around, but you do have a call-in order. So what say you?
Oh, that's a tough one. So they basically skipped the speaker box.
Right.
Is that what happened?
Because you don't technically have an order,
but you still have to
You're
pay,
going around, you've already done that
maybe part. It's ready and maybe it's not.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's cutting in line, period. That's at the end of the day, I think that's what it looks like to me.
I agree. Yeah, definitely cutting in line.
Yeah. I just
felt you can say, hey, I only got one biscuit. Let me get in front of you. I don't,
Yeah. Hey, it's one of those things that with this new ability to go in and order ahead and then go by and pick it up.
Yeah.
I mean, the restaurants need to do something, other than come and get it through the drive-thru. Like, what was it? Mickey D's has the little signed parking spaces where you can text them and then they bring your food out.
A lot of fast food chains are doing that. It's really nice. Like that's how I did my Chick-fil-A today. Was I was in the McDonald's drive-thru placing my Chick-fil-A order, and I drove around and parked in space number 5. But they don't do anything until you get there.
Right.
They don't do anything. It's not like they're sitting there and your food's getting cold, which is good and bad because you're still waiting.
Right.
But you're not, I guess, in the drive-thru. I don't know. That makes a difference. Yeah. It's just another outlet.
At the Chick-fil-A here, they had, you have the one where it splits off so you could go 2 different lanes. Mm-hmm. And then they've made the 3rd lane where you can pull up where you normally would just walk into the store. So now that's 3. And then you've got mobile ordering. So, I mean, they were...
Yeah, ours is
quick.
Sometimes they have 2 lanes of cars plus mobile ahead. Then they've got like the DoorDash parking.
Oh,
so
yeah.
So if you're in a delivery service, you have a separate spot. But if you go there at 11:45 like I did, it's around the block, and I had to go around the drive-through people and go through the Taco Bell parking lot to get it wasn't cutting because I had a mobile order. I guess I'm doing the same thing. I wasn't cutting with the drive-through line though. To find there's a path to get into the parking spaces.
Yeah, sure.
Basically.
Did you have a story? Oh, and the other thing about breakfast time is, again, I've been there several times, and the lady that's running that, the drive-through. Here's the thing. She has never I've been there at least 15 times since I've lived here. And she's never once given me eye contact. And it really bugs me. Like, I say hi, I hope you have a great day, whatever. But she's always looking at either giving the food or the card or whatever. Like, she never gives you eye contact. And that kind of freaks me out. I don't trust people that won't give you eye contact. It's weird.
Well, there could be a medical reason for that, but...
Could be medical reasons for that?
Yeah, there's people who have issues making eye contact. It freaks them out to make eye contact.
Maybe we can ask Brittany about that.
And ask her. I mean, I think it's a thing. Yeah, if you're on a certain spectrum, like autism or something like that.
But she's really nice on the speaker. I don't know. Did you have a story about
what?
Did you have a story about quarantine game shows you want to talk about?
Yeah, so I don't watch a lot of television during the day because I will get nothing done. I'm an auditory learner, so if there's anything playing, that's what I'm doing. Is that so? I'm at the mechanic today getting car inspected, and this is the second time I've seen this. And I don't know if all game shows are doing this now, but it was I think Let's Make a Deal. Have you seen the current setup for that show?
The one with Wayne Brady?
Yes, Wayne Brady. So it looks like everybody's doing social distancing on a game show, which is just weird to begin with because everyone's this is one of those, everyone's dressed up in the crowd typically and they're jumping around kind of thing. But there's 15 or 16 people. They're on stage with him in their own little cubbies, basically.
Okay.
Dressed ridiculously, which is, I think, part of the show. Then there's a Zoom or whatever WebEx crowd. There's people on looks like a, was it Tic-Tac-Toe? What was that show? Never mind.
Oh, where Circle Takes a Square?
Yeah, that thing. It looks like one of those grids with just people dressed crazy. And I think they're doing essential workers are the ones participating on the show, which is kind of cool, but it's just bizarre to watch this happen.
But if you are on the Tic-Tac-Toe board, you're not able to come down, right?
These people are in Texas or wherever, but they're just, they're participating. Maybe they get a chance to win something or they send them a gift card. I don't know. But
should we dress up in SFP gear and just sit there the whole time?
If you haven't had a chance, 10 o'clock Eastern on whatever channel plays game shows. I don't know. It's a spectacle.
That's weird.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's go to the Southern word of the week. This is not a dirty word, so I want to preface by do not, get mad at us. The Southern word of the week is hoe cake. Hoe cake. Have you guys ever had hoe cakes before?
I have not.
Ryan said, what?
No.
What? Say you never had a hoe cake?
Well, describe it.
So
maybe I noticed something different. It's
basically like a thin pancake, and it's basically made out of cornmeal. It's not cornbread, but it's cornmeal basically, and then you just fry it up very thin, and you generally eat it with greens or corn, or my grandma would put it in what she called sweet milk. She'd put it in buttermilk. I prefer sweet milk, but it's greasy, buttery, very delicious.
So it sounds like you're taking cornbread batter and putting it on the griddle almost.
Right, just very thin. It's maybe thinned out.
Add a little extra liquid to it.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good though, with greens and maybe a little bit of pork on top, a little slow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So you Yankees may not know what a hoe cake is, but you should try it. It's delicious.
Yeah, this Yankee didn't.
So you
know
saying I'm a Yankee?
Yeah, you Yankees. All right, so we're going to go to the moment that everybody has been waiting for, the Chicken Madness Round 1, Chick-fil-A versus McDonald's. So, again, my Kentucky Wildcat.
Are you getting feelings from the music?
It hurts my soul because I know I'm not going to watch the actual March Madness. My Cats lost today by 1 point. They have to win. They would have had to win all 4 games of the SEC tournament to make it to the tournament, and they lost by 1 point.
Oh man!
So it's better than Duke, though. Duke, they won their last game, but then somebody got COVID, and they had to forfeit tonight's game. Thus, they have to forfeit the entire NCAA tournament. So,
oh wow,
that's a horrible way to go out. Horrible way. I don't envy that at all. I feel bad for those guys, but so you may be asking yourself, what is Chicken Madness? Producer Brian, will you tell our folks? Give us a breakdown of Chicken Madness.
Well, because
brought to you by Red Hill Brewery.
Yes, thank you, Red Hill, for giving us beer. But so Chicken Madness idea was, it's March. It's the time for the March Madness. So why not have our own tournament? We like tournaments. We like brackets here. We like to talk about chicken sandwiches.
Absolutely.
So why not do like 7-8 weeks of chicken sandwich conversation? Because who doesn't love to talk about food? So we went out to our faithful listeners, had them help us seed these chicken sandwiches. So we got the proper order, basically. So we're getting the right. We're doing these based on it's crowdsourced, I guess. Information. So this week, seed the first, basically 1 versus 8. We have, no surprise, Chick-fil-A, our 1 seed, versus McDonald's, the 8 seed.
And if you're just tuning in, we do have Brittany. She just joined us. So can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep, we got you loud and clear. We are going through, and this is awful because you're my nurse practitioner.
Oh no.
We're going through the chicken sandwiches.
Biggun's in trouble.
I'm going to be in trouble. Do you have a particular chicken sandwich that you prefer?
Hands down, I have to say that. So I did try the Popeyes chicken sandwich when it first came out. That was the bomb. But I certainly think that the Tenders pimento chicken sandwich definitely took the cake. Yeah.
Whoa, where's that at?
That's at PDQ or chicken or the Tenders. Do you know where that's at?
Tenders.
You have one in Concord. I think it's called PDQ.
Oh,
that's right. Tenders is the one on the lake
that.
over by Cornelius, I think, and they rebranded or did the chain version as PDQ.
And this is horrible for me to be even totally pushing for that. Cholesterol levels are going to be going through the roof. But add the pimento cheese.
It's good for business. That's what.
Now at Bojangles, you can also add pimento cheese, but per the rules, we have to eat it just as it comes. So
we took 8 popular fast food restaurants, ranked them. We're eating them however they intended for us to eat them.
The thing, Producer Brian, one thing that I'm having trouble with is where are our scores? Or are you going to read them out for us?
I can. Did you not?
I've
got the score
link anymore. Okay,
that's
you
fine.
got the scorecard. Okay,
I got the scorecard. I'll be happy to remind you of what your scores were.
Before we begin, let us. We have to pop our Red Hill. Again, this segment is brought to you by Red Hill Brewery. We will be drinking the Dreamsicle. So crack one open.
Oh, we're supposed to do Dreamsicle?
You can't.
Oh crap!
I
didn't bring that up.
Oh no. Do you not read the text, Brittany? You could go get something to drink.
I must have missed that one. All right, I'm going to start with the Grateful Dead IPA.
No, you can't. Okay, I'll give you another one.
Already opened it, right? That's the one I've got 2 of, so you can have my other one.
Well, anyway. Wow. So this one is supposed to taste like a dreamsicle, a orange cream ale, said the description. Producer Brian was looking forward to this one. So that's why we started with it.
Yeah. Well, that's one of my favorite desserts ever. Is the dreamsicle. The orange cream. Like,
okay.
Orange sherbet, the cream in there.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually been making this like keto dessert hack with the orange Mio, that stuff you put in like your water bottles. It's orange flavor. It's sugar free, and then do like a vanilla. It's like a stevia monk fruit. You mix a little bit of that in with like yogurt or sugar free vanilla pudding, and it's amazing.
That's Britney approved right there. Great job. What do you think about this dreamsicle? I think you get the orange,
mm-hmm.
you get the creamy to it. Ryan, I can't believe you didn't read the text. So,
cream ale.
It's cream ale. What were you saying, Brittany?
Is it sweet?
No, it's a little tart.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's not sweet, but
it's not sour either. It's not quite a sour.
You get that creamy on the end. All right.
What is this from?
From Red Hill Brewery.
Okay.
Dreamsicle.
Where'd you get it?
Red Hill Brewery. It's called Dreamsicle. It's in downtown Concord.
Okay, I'm gonna have to.
Yeah.
It's above the Cabarrus Creamery if you ever go by.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know exactly where that's at.
It's go the back door because you can't go up the front door. You got to go through the back door.
Yeah.
And then go upstairs and there you go. So
I like it. I like cream ales anyway, just because of the mouthfeel you get from it. I like orange. So there's not much I don't like about this. I wish I had. It needs to be ice cold though. Yeah. Like mine's been sitting there for 30 minutes while we got ready for the show.
Gotcha.
So it's not like ice cold. If it was like in a frosted mug, like the middle of July, this right here on the back porch.
Stuff. It's very delicious though. I like it. So thank you, Chris at Red Hill. We appreciate that. All right, gentlemen. So let's go through the bracket. We'll go with which one are we going to go first, McDonald's or Chick-fil-A?
I think we should go with the low seed first, perhaps.
All right. So here's what McDonald's lists, how they describe their new chicken crispy sandwich. Hold on. That's the spicy. Let's back this thing up. The crispy, juicy, tender, a new word to describe a new kind of delicious. With our new crispy chicken fillet made with all white meat, crinkle cut pickles, and a new buttered potato roll. Did we mention it's new? Points off by saying new so many times. So, I don't like that. So, there's that.
So, the scoring here, let me just take us through the scoring. What we've done is we've assigned arbitrary point values for 5 categories. So, we're going to have a point system on these sandwiches. And it's all subjective, So, they're going to change. Some of these sandwiches will get different scores next time we try them, most likely, based on how we're comparing them. So, presentation is worth 5 points. Does it look like it got stepped on when it came out of the bag? Bread, which is an important part of a sandwich, 5 points. Sauce, 5 points. Toppings, pickle, lettuce, tomato, fried up, whatever they put on there. The chicken, which is the main event, is worth 10 points. So there's a total of 30 points between 3 judges. So you can get 90 points per sandwich.
Right.
The winner moves on.
There you go. So we'll go with McDonald's. Let's go with the appearance. I did a side-by-side comparison between the Chick-fil-A sandwich, McDonald's, and to be completely honest, they almost looked identical. So there was nothing really standing out except this. McDonald's has a potato bun, and that had a nice little sheen on top of mine. Yep. So I did appreciate that. So it has a little bit extra points for me for McDonald's than Chick-fil-A because of that sheen on the potato bun.
Yes, it was a prettier bun. That was about all I can say about it.
Had that little split in the top.
Yeah, it had a little. It looked like a pretzel roll almost.
It did. That's what I thought too. It's like a pretzel bun. Yeah,
it had nice buns. We'll say that.
Nice bun.
So presentation, Biggun gave it a 3. Magic Man and I both gave it 4s.
Wow.
I've seen plenty of nice buns.
Oh.
Have you?
Hey.
Are we referring back to my DRE?
I think that's going to be the topic of the.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a show title if I ever seen one. I need to write that down.
I've seen nice buns. Let's write that one down. All right. So we got appearance. What's next?
Bread is the next category.
Yeah. Okay.
Bread. So Biggun gave it a 3.5. I gave it a 3. And Ryan, explain yourself, gave it a 5.
The bread?
The bread on the McDonald's chicken sandwich.
I thought it was good.
All right.
Well, that's
the top score that you could possibly give the bun for McDonald's goes to a 5.
It wasn't soggy.
Okay.
It wasn't squished.
Okay.
And it had a little flavor to it. It was all right.
Here's what I'll argue. It is a potato bun, which I thought was going to kind of push it over the edge, but it says a buttered potato roll, and I didn't get any butter on that flavor. On the Chick-fil-A, had a little bit more butter on it.
Just a little bit. I tried to eat a little bit of bread on either one just to try it, to compare. They're about the same. Oh, you gave it a half point.
I gave half points.
Buttered buns are better than non-buttered buns.
That's true.
Right.
Yes.
That's a good point. All right, next.
Sauce category. Well, neither one of these sandwiches have sauce on them.
Okay.
So
we'll save that
just
one.
to be clarified, so McDonald's got 0 points for sauce.
Right.
Because there was not a sauce.
Right.
We'll save the Chick-fil-A score for later. Next is toppings. Toppings on the sandwich include 2 pickles, I think.
2 pickles. I got 2
maybe
pickles.
3 if you got lucky.
Yeah.
Score. So Biggun gave it a 3. I gave it a 3. Ryan scored 1 per pickle, so 2 for toppings.
Yeah.
Not much to go on there, you know.
Brittany, have you seen nice pickles in your day?
I have seen nice pickles.
Oh,
all right, there we go. All right, what's next?
And the main event. The main event is the chicken breast itself. So is it crispy? What's it taste like? You know, how's the flavor on it? Yeah. Biggun gave it a 5. I gave it a 5. And Ryan gave it an 8 on the McDonald's chicken sandwich. Which to me is some false advertising. It was not juicy. It was not tender. It didn't come in a cardboard box, but it kind of tasted like the cardboard box to me.
Yeah, so. It was very dry for me. Like it was like, nothing special. If you're going to come out firing the gate saying this is our new crispy, juicy, tender sandwich, McDonald's, you failed.
It was crispy. I'll give it crispy.
Mine was a little soggy, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's move.
Total scores so far on the sandwich, after we've tallied all that, it's at a 48.5.
48.5 out of 90.
Out of 90.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
So moving on to Chick-fil-A presentation. Biggun got a 2.5. I gave it a 3.
Yep.
And Ryan gave it 5. So, it's not the bun's not pretty.
They Chick-fil-A's the inventor of the chicken sandwich. It's the standard. That's why they get the 5.
and just also to be clear, both of them came in a foil bag, no cardboard box. They were both in foil bag.
Yep.
All right, so go ahead.
Bread. Biggun said give it the Chick-fil-A bread a 3, which is a half point lower than McDonald's bread.
Yep. Was it really?
You gave the higher marks.
That's
on
right, because I
McDonald's
like the potato bun. All right.
Yep, correct. I gave it a 4, which is a whole point higher than, because I thought it was a more flavorful bun. Again, I haven't had bread in at least a month, so there's some skew there. And then Magic Man gave it a 3 on the bread, so he liked the potato roll. At 5.
All right.
Moving on to sauce. Again, there's no sauce, but we kind of discussed this a little bit. Magic Man gave it a 3. Because it doesn't need sauce, right?
That's correct. Whatever they're doing with the seasoning and the breading and whatever, good job.
Yeah.
So
I could have done that.
Even though there was no sauce, I gave it a 3, like right in the middle, because it didn't need it. They need the sauce.
You can't do that though. The argument is there's no sauce on the. If you want to score up the chicken because there's no sauce needed, absolutely. You can't give a 3 for no sauce when there's no sauce on there.
2 words. Lord's chicken.
I'm not going to argue with the sauce thing because I don't think I almost did the same thing myself. So, toppings, Biggun gave it a 2, 1 per pickle. I gave it a 4 because I think the pickles were better. I tried the pickles; they had more of like a briny flavor. They weren't
thick. Mine were very thin. The other ones at least had a little crunch to it.
I don't know the pickles were about the same slice. I feel like on mine, but
no,
I got more.
They look the same
saltiness out of the. It wasn't the McDonald's pickle tasted like it had been like hosed off in water. To me, like it didn't have that briny.
Okay, I'll give you that.
So I gave it more.
Okay,
it was a better pickle. Magic Man gave it a 2. Moving things along, chicken itself. 8 for Biggun, 9 for myself, and 10 for Magic Man. So 10 out of 10. I mean, it's a good chicken. You won't see me give it 10 anywhere, probably.
Yeah, probably not.
9's like a perfect score for me.
All right. So.
Oh, boy. What's he doing? What?
There's the Mickey D's pickle.
Oh, wait a minute. You didn't even.
There's the Chick-fil-A pickle. Mickey D.
One has the ridges and one doesn't.
Okay, right now.
They both have ridges. But I mean, really, could you? I'm trying to do this so you can see it there.
I didn't get souvenirs for my sandwiches, so.
I'm not a pickle person, so.
So you took them off.
So I took them off. I did bite into one of them
today. I think. Those pickles have been sitting there since noon.
I really want you to try them now and tell me which one tastes saltier, but you know.
Hey,
maybe after you finish that beer.
I did bite into this pickle.
Which one was that?
It's a Chick-fil-A.
Okay, people on the podcast, if you're listening to the podcast, you have to go on YouTube and watch Magic Man holding up his pickles. You got to do it.
Watch Magic Man.
While you're there, subscribe. But
put your pickle down.
Ring the bell.
Okay.
Click the bell.
Yeah.
Put the pickle down.
Hey.
We're just getting started. There's pickles and lolly sandwiches coming forward. So, all right. I forgot what we were talking about. We did the chicken score. Okay.
He pulled them out. Oh my god.
Okay.
Hey. You wanted entertainment.
That was gold right there, my friend.
Are you not entertained?
That was gold. All right.
Oh, wow. Okay, so score.
Cheers, folks.
Final score on the Chick-fil-A sandwich was a 58.5 out of 90. So that's not a high score, but it beat McDonald's by 10 points. So
yeah. Here's what I'm going to say. You think that Chick-fil-A is in the bag and you've got it. It's not happening. It's not a lock for Chick-fil-A. Next week, guys, we've got Wendy's versus Zaxby's. Then the following week is Popeyes versus KFC, and then Arby's over Bojangles. So CFA is not a lock. So,
nope.
All right.
I think the advantage may be because we're doing them side by side, though. You're going to really, if there's a quality difference, you're going to pick it up.
Yep.
So as we go through the tournament, it should be interesting. I'm interested to see how it goes.
We're only at the grade 8, so we still have the final 4.
I don't know the last time I laughed that hard, so thank you.
I'm glad. Hey, laughter's the best medicine.
Well, I think the doctor will disagree with that, but there's that.
Penicillin's probably the best medicine or something. Right?
Probably. All right, so let's go to our special guest, Britney Pettigrew, the nurse practitioner. Producer Brian, cue the music.
And now, our feature presentation.
All right. Britney Pettigrew, how are you this evening?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Oh, we're clearly doing great. Britney, where are you from originally?
Ohio. I'm from Ohio.
Now, you've told me behind the scenes that you took our How Country Are You quiz a couple weeks ago.
I did.
And you scored 31. Is that correct?
I actually scored 32 because I forgot that we did own a BB gun.
Oh.
Yes.
So you're not just some uppity Yankee redneck.
Oh no.
I mean, you are.
I'm going to do the mud run in April 24th. I'm going to get dirty in the 5K mud run obstacle course. I'm country. I'm 32 on that score. Yes, I'm country.
Wow. Congratulations on that. That's fantastic.
Wow.
So Brittany, when did you decide that you were going to go into the medical profession?
When I was very young, I was, around 10, 11 years old, I decided I was going to go into the medical profession. At that time, my grandfather was sick, and I thought that, if I hurried up and got big and adult-like, that I could go into the medical field and make sure that he got well again. Of course, that's little kid thinking, right? Yeah. So when he died, when I was 11, I swore to myself that I was going to go into the medical field. And at first, I thought I was going to go become a cardiologist because he actually died of heart failure. He had a heart attack. And then I learned all about the heart, and I really didn't care for it that much. So I decided that I was just going to go be a nurse instead. And so I became a critical care nurse, and I spent some time in the field gaining a lot of stories along the way. And then I went back to school to become a family nurse practitioner.
Wow. So what was that like, the journey, like how that started for you? So you started that. I don't know what all it takes to become a nurse practitioner. So maybe tell our guests and our listeners, like, what is the process like?
So initially you have to go, through school. It's easier to take your prerequisites when you're going to a community or junior college. Okay. And then you transfer into a nursing program, which is extremely rigorous. I mean, it's very difficult to get into nursing programs. At least it was when I was going into a nursing program. You had to jump through a lot of hoops, and then you were put into a bank. And out of that time, I think there was like only 600 applicants that were chosen out of 5,000, and I was one of them. Wow. So I was very thankful because, I kept my grades up. I really worked hard to get into that prestigious Christian college. So I went to school at Otterbein University, which is in Westerville. And I graduated from there with my bachelor's in nursing. And then I went on to become a critical care nurse. And usually when you want to go for an FNP program, it is always really good to have a lot of experience backing you, because it's going to be so much more difficult to do the schooling for family nurse practitioner or any nurse practitioner program if you don't have a lot of hands-on experience. School only takes you part of the way, and then most of it is from hands-on experience. There's some things that the textbooks just don't teach you.
Sure.
You're going to go through a culture shock period. You're going to go through did I choose the right career field? You're going to see some things that make you think that this probably wasn't for me. And then you finally get your ground and your bearing, and you're like, okay, just keep a poker face and it all will be okay. And then once you get there, you're pretty much golden. But then at that point in time, when I had my experience under me, I decided it was time. You just kind of have that feeling, it's time for me to kind of move on into the next world. And, some people are okay with being, a nurse and they're great. And I loved being a nurse. And then other people aspire to be a little bit more. And those that aspire to be more, it's always good to continue your education going through a master's program, which is an additional 2 to 3 years.
So, and I didn't know this. You kind of gave me like an education on this. What's the difference between, so you've got a nurse, you've got a nurse practitioner, you've got a physician or a doctor or physician, and then a physician's assistant. What's the difference between all of those?
So as a nurse practitioner, you do have to go through nursing school and become a bachelor degree nurse before you can go on to become a family nurse practitioner. And of course, you have the experience under your belt as a nurse, because a lot of programs now, forbid you from going back to school until you have X number of years of experience, which is great. I think that's honestly a good thing. And so you end up, for me, I ended up going through a total of 7 years of schooling to become a nurse practitioner. Some people will do the smart thing and just go through a 4-year program and then, the nurse practitioner. So they'll typically go through, anywhere between 6 and 7 years. So we do have an extensive amount of schooling. Physicians, and so we can be collaborative with a physician. And in many states, they actually see us as a standalone provider. So we don't have to be attached to any physician. We can practice on our own. Here in the state of North Carolina, unfortunately, they do have laws where we have to be collaborating with a physician, but we can still open our own practice as long as a physician is willing to be like, yeah, I'm attached to her, even if I'm, 3 hours away. As long as we're able to reach them by phone call, we can practice on our own. For a PA, that cannot happen. They could be, for example, they could have gone through 4 years of schooling to become a bank, in finance, or they could be an accountant or whatever, and decide they want to become a physician assistant. And all they do is 2-year program with a minimal amount of, rotations and become a physician's assistant. So they could have no medical background. They could have some medical background. They could have minimal knowledge of medical background and go back for a 2-year program to become a PA. They do have to have the prerequisites, of course, for that, but they have to be supervised by a physician at all times. They cannot have their own practice. They cannot they're an extender of a physician. They have to be attached to their hip at all time and basically supervised, 100%. A physician, well, they've done their due diligence. They've gone to school for a very long time. So they deserve mad props. They've gone through hours and hours and hours of rotations. So I'm not going to take away from that whatsoever. Nurse practitioners cannot perform surgery. Physicians can. They can go into any, world of medicine that they want. Nurse practitioners have that ability too, except for surgery. So that's kind of the difference. But, physicians are basically the, holy grail of medicine is how I, so to speak it. However, nurse practitioners are replacing a lot of they're a physician replacement to fill in the holes for where physicians are lacking, because there is a physician's shortage here in the United States. So I know that's a lot of information, but you think of physician up here, nurse practitioner, they're trying to say that we're equal. For the sake of being respectful, I say that we can do everything a physician can do except for surgery. However, I still like to give them that kudos for going through like 20,000 years of schooling and hours of sleep deprivation. So they're up here, nurse practitioners are here, PAs are here, and of course the nurses, they're very important in the medical field as well. They're super important because in the hospital system, they're the eyes and ears for physicians at the bedside. They're the ones that usually catch the things that are changing for the patient. So it's all important jobs, all important duties, just in different stages of medicine.
To become a physician's assistant, I did stay at Holiday Inn Express last night. Is that good enough?
I don't
know. Well, there's that. If anybody is watching on YouTube or Facebook, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. Magic Man will let me know, and we'd love to get your questions as well. All right, so that whole thing is fascinating. I thought in my head, like you would think, like a physician's assistant would be higher, just because the name physician's assistant. But I would think like nurse practitioner would be lower, but that's clearly not the case.
Right.
So after you graduated, how did you come from Ohio to Concord, or how do you even find a practice?
So this is going to be a long journey. So as a critical care nurse, I decided to go into travel critical care ICU. So I was working at that time for Riverside Methodist Hospital in the neurosurgery unit. And it was a very great unit, loved it there, but decided I just felt like I needed to kind of fly my wings a little bit. So I ended up traveling with a company, and I went to IU Methodist Hospital in Indianapolis, and I stayed there on their level 1 trauma unit for neurosurgery as well. For a short time. And then I ended up, and these are all short contracts. So you're not made to spend there long term. You're supposed to be filling in holes and being adaptable and flexible to all situations. So I left Indianapolis and we went to Lee Summit, Missouri, which is right there in Kansas City area. Go Chiefs. And had to get that in there. Sure. So I was in there. I mixed ICU out there, and I spent a good 9 months in that ICU. They just kept extending my contract, and in fact, I was offered a position to stay there, but I just didn't feel like I was done yet. So I ended up going to Dallas, Texas, which was the ultimate foodie central, and I really miss the food there. But I worked for Medical City Dallas, and I did take a position that was a ICU float as well as a rapid response nurse for the hospital. So it was a really interesting experience. I got to see so many things, be a part of so many things. And then it was like at that point in time, I was like, all right, I think I'm ready to go back for my family nurse practitioner program. And so it was then that my husband had to transfer to North Carolina for his job. And so it wasn't my job anymore taking us places, it was his. And so we ended up transferring here to North Carolina, and I finished my rotations out here in the Concord area with some doctors. And one of the doctors that, really shaped me in my practice was Dr. Trang Vong. I'm sure most people have heard of her. She works in primary care practice with Novant Health. She just really shaped me into who I am as a nurse practitioner. And then, of course, I ended up getting a reach out from Northeast Internal Integrative Medicine because I had asked them to be one of my rotation, and they agreed. But unfortunately, Atrium Health had disbanded from being able to have an agreement with my school. So I ended up being with Trang Vong. But at the end of the day, they remembered me and they said, hey, we have a position available. One of the physicians is leaving. Would you like to take her spot? And I said, sure. And so that's how I ended up at Northeast Internal Integrated Medicine.
Okay. Now, you know me, I don't get emotional at all whatsoever. So I'll try to hold back the tears on this one. I've had several doctors in my lifetime, and I say doctors as quotes. And you know my chart, like we can't talk hip and stuff, but I'll say like, I'm not a guy that goes to the doctor a lot, like whatever, I'll suffer through it, no big deal. But because my doctor left, that was the one that left the practice. And then I was like, well, I got to get a physical. So I got to go because of the foster stuff. So I got to go, had to suck it up. And I remember you said, you're only here because you got to fill this paperwork out, right? I was like, absolutely. Yeah, that's why I'm here. But from that moment, like I noticed that there was something different about you. Like you legitimately like care. And like, I respect what you do so much. And at that moment, I was like, this is different than anybody I've ever had. I remember I had one doctor, I walked in and I was like, hey, I've got this issue. And she's like, well, what prescription do you want for that? Like, I don't know. You tell me. You're the doctor. Like, you're supposed to know.
Pick?
Yeah, you got to pick. I was like, Viagra? I don't know. Just give me something. That didn't quite work out like I wanted. But, like, you're different. Like, what makes you different than most of these doctors that I've been to before?
I don't know their story, but I know mine. Yeah. And my story is that I just genuinely have a passion to help people. And I don't just see them as another person sitting in a room. I try to read them. And I know it's weird to talk about this, but you can catch an energy off of somebody. And I'm not talking about voodoo stuff or anything like that. I'm talking about like the energy that somebody is giving off. And you can see, you can basically read how they will react or not react. And sometimes you just can't read people. I've had that too. So don't worry.
Sure.
But I genuinely have a passion to do what is right by patients. And I usually am willing to bend over backwards to make sure that I can help them in any manner that I can, probably to a fault. I'll be honest with that. But regardless, I want to do that for each and every single one of my patients. And I know that I can't make everybody happy,
Sure.
Today's day and age. But, I did see that there was a lot to be done and a lot to be had. And usually when I see it, I see a vision and then I go for that vision and I try to get them to see that vision. And typically they see that vision and we can just really get things, done.
Yeah.
Hence the 5K.
So let's talk about this 5K. So this is the first time we're announcing on the show. You have, I think it was the third time I had to go in to the doctor's office. Cause that was it was like the DRE thing. It was, coming up, whatever. So, so you said, hey, Biggun, which you didn't call me that, but I am a Biggun. Hey buddy, you're going to do a 5K this year. And I said, No, I'm not. and you insisted that was happening. So you have pushed the office to get involved. And so we're going to have the first ever SFP 5K, barring anything happens with COVID or other issues that I may end up having. But we're really going to push the SFP 5K. Come on out. We're going to try to raise some money for charity, probably Obesity of America, which I think that would be great. Something like that. But we're going to walk around 3.5 miles. I've tried to walk. I'll be honest with you that I was doing really good. And then the sickness hit and, so I'm struggling with that one. But we're planning for November. Producer Brian, you said you're going to be at the end with Krispy Kreme donuts.
Yeah, I'll be sitting in the golf cart right next to you the whole time.
Man, I appreciate
it. Hand them over.
Yeah.
Need a little sugar bump. Here's a crispy.
I need to carb up while I'm doing the 5K.
Yeah, I'll just have a golf cart right behind you.
We're getting T-shirts made.
We're getting T-shirts made. Ryan, where are you at on this one?
I'll be wherever you need me to be, man.
You said you were in. Are you going to do it?
Oh, there you
go. Walk with you?
You gonna do the walk-in?
Heck no.
Sure. Sure.
Have you ever watched the Tour de France? You got like the support team in the car behind the guys.
Sure,
that's me right there.
Both of you guys are going to be in that. This is what I need you to do for you. I need you to be ahead of me with your pickles, and just just walk backwards with your pickles like you're making me go.
So do the 5K backwards.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
Waving pickles at me. Bring the bagpipes.
So, I mean, and that's an example of just how you go above and beyond. You're like, nope, we're doing this. Let's roll. So I'm going to really try my best. We're going to work on it. But I mean, you go above and beyond, and there's no question about it. If you need a nurse practitioner, I will 100% support you to go see Britney Pettigrew. She's fantastic. So what are some, do we have any questions, by the way, Ryan?
I'm just waiting until we start talking about that DRE.
Oh, Lord.
That was another episode.
Go back and read.
You say anything else.
Okay.
We heard your side of the story. Now we want to know what.
No, don't.
For all HIPAA,
I know there's HIPAA that you can't. There's HIPAA.
So I will say this, that I found out for the first time that some men really moan when you give them their DRE.
That's me. I'm one of those. I do that.
I figured Biggun would squeal like a pig.
It wasn't JT. I'm just going to tell you right now.
Yeah.
He took that like a champ. He took it like a champ. So
that's right.
I'm one of those people.
Are you really?
Right,
you're a moaner.
Yes. I'm yeah, I made some noises when I had my exam. Yep.
Well, it took me for a surprise. I was I'm glad we have masks. I mean,
right.
Oh, that's a good point.
You can't
need a little more soundproofing in the room, I think.
Did you fart on her, dude?
What?
No.
What?
She said she had a mask on.
She's
because
laughing.
of COVID.
And she's laughing.
Nobody can see what my facial reaction is.
Oh.
If I could ban you from the show.
I knew that was coming.
Oh, Lord.
No, I'm saying that it's good that we have masks because
Right.
then you can't see anything from the eyes up. Face is covered.
So you could laugh and say things. You can mouth words and nobody knows what you're saying.
Yeah. But, that all these DREs are experiences each and every single time because each and every single person is different.
For all parties, I think.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and talk about, I know, again, we don't want to break HIPAA. We can't break HIPAA. But you can tell either your stories or you can tell some funny stories or other people's stories that you've heard that have just really kind of been over the top. Can you share some?
Well, I'm trying to make sure I don't take this too far because I've already told you already know some stories.
Yeah. We can't say the one that you told me a couple days ago, but
no, so
we can tell.
We can talk about like the diabetic exams, some of the things are, like when you have to do the foot exam and you're like, okay, well, let me help you with that sock. And you take the sock off and it's like volcanic ash and it just explodes. And so the masks, again, are really great for that. Block things out. But, for most stories, I think I'm going to have to keep it PG rated.
Sure. Yeah. It's a family show, so we got to kind of keep it PG.
Yeah.
As best we can.
Any other stories PG or current PG?
1980s PG.
All right.
Any other stories you could share?
Well, there's some slip-ups with how I word things. I think, JT, by now, you know me enough to know that I can be very professional, but sometimes when I get tired, I say really dumb things. Like, like when we're talking about vitamin D levels, for example.
Vitamin D, which I refer to as I have to take my D.
And I accidentally told the patient that I need to check your D. So... And it was not a female, so that went well. I mean, it was more like, oh, really?
Oh, wow.
So that was an awkward moment. 100%.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Hey, Brittany, you realize you're talking with a bunch of grown 12-year-old boys.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can understand my humiliation then when I'm in this 4x4 box of a room and thinking, oh crap, I just said the wrong thing, and then needing to exit very quickly.
Sure.
But, things happen. I say dumb things and I try to retract them and I don't know how to. It just gets awkward from there.
How do you balance like having a personality and being professional? Because you need to be able to have fun with people sometimes, right?
Oh, true. Very true. I think that I have quite a lot of fun at my work. I mean, my CMA Brandy, I couldn't do what I do without her. And I mean, she just rolls with the punches. I mean, by now she's already said, I'm about to put an earpiece on and a microphone. And anytime I think you're about to say something stupid, I'm going to tell you to stop and back out of the room. So I think she's got my back. What do you guys think?
Yeah, absolutely. She's got your back. Wow.
Yeah.
What are some common misconceptions about doctors or nurse practitioners?
Some of the common misconceptions about nurse practitioners is that we're just nurses and that we are not capable of being a provider and treating patients or prescribing medication. So even still to this day, last week I had a patient that, was hypertensive, and I said, I educated him, and he said, but you're just the nurse practitioner.
Ooh.
And I said, yeah. So he wanted to speak with the doctor about this problem. And I said, that's all good. But, sometimes he actually tells you, what you're going to do? You're going to follow up with my nurse practitioner about this problem. I said, so either which way you go, we need to address this problem. He wasn't having it with me. So I think a big misconception is that they think that we're not capable. And that's a little frustrating. Because I feel like they delay their treatment. But, and misconceptions about doctors is that, people think that most doctors are stuffy, and they're not. I mean, I work with, Dr. Shear, and he's just absolutely hysterical. I mean, we crack up laughing in the dictation office all the time. So we have a lot of fun. I mean, he's very supportive and very willing to help out, and he's moral support all the way. So
nice.
They're not all stuffy, I tell you that.
My thought is, they go in at 8, they leave at 4:30 in their Ferraris, and then they don't really care about their patients, and then they just go to the golf course and they check out.
That's Monday through Thursday, right?
Monday through Thursday, right? Because they don't work on Fridays. But I guess that's not the case. and you, like, it's not an 8 to 4:30 job for you. Like, you have been putting in some major hours.
Yes. So typically my day starts, I leave the house by 6 o'clock-ish, and I get there anywhere between 6:40, 6:50 in the morning. And I start my day by looking at the messages, my labs and stuff that came in overnight, start addressing those and getting them back to the patient. My first patient I get to see at 7:40. And it's every 20 minutes from there until lunch. You get an hour lunch every 20 minutes from there. I see my last patient at 4:20. You're usually wrapping up charts. And, typically if it's a perfect world, you might be getting out at like 5:30-ish. But when anything goes awry or things happen that are unforeseen or another provider is out, and, you have to take on, you don't have to, but it's just good practice. I mean, there was a situation where our provider had to be out, so I was putting in a lot of hours. I was getting there at 6:30 in the morning, and I wasn't leaving until 7:38, 8:15-ish. And then getting up and doing it all over again Monday through Friday. Thursdays, I typically have my half day, but my half day is to catch up on all the administrative stuff, any tasks, any results that I haven't been able to get to. And then on the weekends, typically, thank goodness, he's on call. But when he's like taking a vacation or off, then I take the call. So we also, do 24/7 call when it's required. I thankfully, like I said, he takes that most of the time. So it is mostly him that takes the call, and I just take it whenever he's not available.
Gotcha. How has the medical field changed since you started to where it is now, and or like where do you see it kind of going?
It has changed so dramatically. Even when I was a nurse, I mean, just the way the protocols are put in place, the politics, just the type of people that are going into healthcare. I used to be in a group of, I've been around a lot of people that had a genuine interest, and then I feel like that's kind of even waned a lot, which is a little sad to me. But, there's been a huge change in the way that things have been structured. And, it's so confusing because, I went into this to make it easier on patients, to make it more convenient for patients, to do the best and right thing by the patients, to make it more right and innovative, and trying to make sure that it's like a one-stop shop. That's kind of my vision. But, not everybody shares that vision, and that's okay. And so at the end of the day, sometimes when people don't share the same vision, you have to determine where your path is leading you in this kind of field. And that goes for the same as being a critical care nurse. It goes the same for, I've been on units that didn't share the same vision. I've been, and that's unfortunate, but it has changed a lot. It's changed dramatically because, I used to, see so much teamwork, especially in the hospital. And I believe that it's there, especially during COVID times. I don't know how they would be able to get through what they've gone through without the teamwork. Sure. But I do know that towards my last stint in nursing, as I was becoming a nurse practitioner, I didn't see that teamwork as largely as I did when I first went into nursing. I felt like it was, really pulling away from that. So it's been a drastic change in all the things that we use and the dosages and the medications. It's constantly changing. It's ever dynamic. Just recently we were told the guidelines changed for chlamydia and gonorrhea. Keep that in mind, guys. They've become resistant, and now the medications have changed, the dosages have changed. So it's ever changing. You just have to keep up with it.
Wow. Now you are part of Northeast, Northwest. Which one is it?
Northeast internal.
Internal and integrative medicine. How is that different than just going to see a general practitioner?
I wouldn't say that it's any really different than seeing, because we are primary care.
Right.
We're an internal medicine practice, which is primary care. We're also an integrative medicine practice. And what that means is that we're willing to practice both Eastern and Western medicine. So we practice a little bit of Ayurvedic medicine. We practice a little bit of Eastern medicine, as long as it's evidence-based practice. So if it's proven in clinical studies multiple times, we're talking about the high level of evidence-based practice, those systematic reviews, those meta-analysis reviews, then it is safe to use and safe to say that this is and will help with this XYZ. So we can't just be prescribing snake oil, which we say that for things that are not proven. So we do practice both sides, whereas sometimes you get into, a regular primary care practice, and they wouldn't necessarily say, hey, if your triglycerides are really high and you're already taking a statin, why don't you go and take some fish oil and maybe go ahead and add in a little amla berry? They're not going to probably say that because they're not keeping up to date with those things. Whereas we practice that entire Eastern or Western medicine base, so we have that knowledge. Plus, we kind of gain on knowledge of integrative medicine practices that we know are proven methods to help in conjunction with Western medicine. So we still expect that our patients take on Western medicine practices, but are willing to also supplement with Eastern medicine if it's necessary. But we have a lot of patients that say, I never want to take a medication in my life. I only want to do Eastern medicine. And that has become a problem recently.
Producer Brian, you look confused for a second.
Oh, well, she's smarter than us, so that's going to happen.
Of course.
I was thinking about, when you said Eastern, like, I've talked to my mother about this, like acupuncture. Is that like a thing you consider Eastern? Like, a lot of medical practices don't touch that sort of thing.
So our practice does have acupuncture in it. We have a full-time acupuncturist on Thursdays, Lee is his name, and he does Chinese acupuncture and some other really good things with his fingers that I can't tell you what they are, but people are saying it's really great. So he does 1-hour appointments on Thursdays, and that's the only day he's out at our office full time. And then, of course, Dr. Shear, he does acupuncture on Wednesdays, but here's the catch with him. He can only do it for chronic low back pain for patients who have Medicare. So Dr. Lee is for all other patients, and then Dr. Shears for Medicare patients for chronic low back pain only.
That's a thing that like insurance doesn't really play in, right?
So
the Eastern medicine.
You are correct. The Medicare will pay for low back pain as long as it's been chronic, meaning greater than 3 months, greater than equal to 3 months of chronic low back pain. So Medicare is starting to pay for it, and all other insurances usually follow suit with Medicare and Medicaid. So if Medicare is starting to pay for that piece, we're expecting like over years, hopefully that to expand. But right now, insurance doesn't pay for acupuncture, and it is a self-pay practice unless you have chronic low back pain. Gotcha. And on Medicare.
I have neither of those.
The thing that I like as well, like you were saying, like, hey, we can have some medication, like some normal, like, go to the Harris Teeter and get it. But let's also try the fish oil. Let's try the ashwagandha. There's other things that you say, hey, well, why don't you try this supplement and see if it works, and then we can move on to prescription medicine. And then and the other thing that I respect about you is like you don't just say take 50 milligrams. Let's start off with 5, and then we'll kind of build up and see how that works. And I think that that's much different. I know that's much different than the previous doctors I've been to, where they're like, just take, 16 of these and call me in the morning. Like, it's just different. Like, I respect that as well. That's been really nice.
Thank you. Yes, I'm always, of course, starting out slow and building up because you never know how somebody's going to react to something. And so I never like starting anybody off with a pretense that I assume that they're going to tolerate it well.
All right. Here's a very important question. In your medical opinion, which is more likely to be real, aliens or Bigfoot?
Bigfoot.
All right. Next question. What's something that people can do to just improve their overall quality of life? Something anybody can do, easy peasy. Let's roll. Let's make my life a little bit easier.
Laugh a lot.
Oh, okay.
Laugh
so listen to the show.
Is the best medicine, and Magic Man had it. So that is the best medicine. And in addition to that, of course, maybe backing off that Western diet a little bit and getting in enough exercise. We're talking about 5 days a week, 30 to 45 minutes of moderate to heavy intensity exercise, getting that heart rate up continuously. That's going to, give you a good quality of life, and making sure that you're taking enough D and vitamin D3 and also sometimes recomposing.
Yep.
Rebooting.
Taking K2 with that to pull that calcium back in the bone. So overall, you'll have a really good bone, structure, and you're preserving that function, especially for women who, go through osteoporosis a lot earlier. So staying away from some of this hormonal stuff is, big to I would say like staying away from hormonal replacement therapy, not smoking. Those are the big ones that I think you guys already know. Not drinking in excess and staying away from tanning and taking care of your skin. If you just eat healthy, exercise, laugh a lot, keep your body in good function, you're going to do well.
So you mentioned the Western diet. That's like chicken sandwiches, right?
That's like chicken sandwiches.
Okay.
Yes,
So is the Eastern diet more like beef and broccoli or like lo mein or like what?
Oh, like
the Mediterranean. The Mediterranean diet is one of the healthiest diets that you can have. So we're talking like your olive oils, your Kalamata olives, your fish. So anything that's Mediterranean is going to give you that heart healthy. It's going to give you that weight loss. It's going to be so much healthier for you in the long run.
Then keto, right?
So I have mixed feelings about keto.
Oh, come on!
I'm sure a lot of
a
lot of doctors do. Yeah, bring it.
Go.
So studies have not proven that keto is really good unless you're doing a modified keto, which is more like a Mediterranean /keto /intermittent fasting. When I say intermittent fasting, people think that, oh, well, I'll eat breakfast, I'll skip lunch, and then I'll eat dinner. And that is not intermittent fasting. So people are trying to make up their own rules to the game. It's like, I don't know how people do sometimes, but you just really need to, basically the bottom line is if you eat breakfast and lunch, then you need to not eat after lunch and fast through dinner, through the next day until you get breakfast again. No cheating, no snack. Because it's that nighttime meal that packs on the pounds. It's also that nighttime meal that makes you more insulin resistant, especially depending on what you eat. So not eating from lunch, through the evening and into the next morning until breakfast again gives you that ability to do weight loss, and two, allows you to, have a little bit less insulin resistance for those who end up, becoming a little bit more pre-diabetic or more prone to diabetes type 2.
So have a big lunch and listen to the podcast is what I hear you. Yeah. Like that's a medical diagnosis.
Those are medical advice.
Big lunch. I didn't say big lunch. I said Mediterranean.
Mediterranean lunch.
Hummus.
They eat a lot over there, right?
I don't know. Do they?
See there?
I do the intermittent fasting, but I'll eat dinner and then not again till lunch the next day. Like it's that longer. You're sleeping through it.
Don't eat past
6, like 5:30, 6 o'clock.
And you don't eat past 6 o'clock?
Most of the time. It doesn't, not all the time. But
no cheating.
when I'm intentional about it, that's where I stop. Yeah.
Yeah. Stop it. Don't eat anything past 6. You'll be fine.
What about Magic Man's pickles? Can you finish those tonight?
I don't want them. I don't think that's a problem.
Oh, goodness. All right. Last question for me. Brittany, what is your spirit food? Everybody has a spirit animal. What would you say is your spirit food?
Man, tacos.
Ooh.
Tacos. Authentic tacos. They can't be no Taco Bell. I'm talking about the real tacos.
It's from Texas.
Okay. What's the best? You mentioned Dallas, like you missed the food in Dallas. What's the best food in Dallas that you miss?
My gosh, there's so many. I would say Torchy's Tacos was the best food in Dallas. I mean, there was some good barbecue and some other good places, but definitely Torchy's Tacos was definitely hands down the best.
Fantastic. If you're in the Dallas area, go check out Torchy's. Cha-ching. All right. I think that wraps up for me. You guys have any questions?
None that I actually want answers to.
I don't know. We may violate some HIPAA.
Yeah, probably. Well, Brittany, you can charge your copay to my insurance for this episode. That's no problem. I appreciate it.
This was more than 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah. We're going to have to do like six seasons. 6 sessions, I should say. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. If you are looking for a new nurse practitioner in the Concord area, check her out at Northeast. God, I don't know what directions are. Internal and Integrative Medicine. You can look it up online. You can message me, and I'll give you her number. Or the office number. So again, thank you so much for coming on the show, Brittany. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I hope that was enjoyable.
Absolutely. Anytime.
All right. If we have any, after, you know what we should have done, guys, is we should have gotten our cholesterol before the chicken sandwich combo or bracket, and then we should have done it after. That would have been great. Yeah. So,
we didn't even get into the hot topic of the COVID stuff at all.
Oh, yeah. Do we want to talk about COVID?
I don't know if it's even worth bringing up or not.
No, it's almost over, right?
Yeah.
Please just tell me. Please tell me it's almost over.
Is it?
Well, that's what we all hope for sure.
She's. Oh no.
She's shaking her head. No, it's not over.
No, it's going to be. I feel like it's going to be endemic. They're already saying that they feel like it is too. So, we just got to prepare the best that we can and hope for the best. And I guess
what does that mean?
Yeah, I was going to say, what does endemic mean for those of us
it's
that
going to be living among us, like the flu, like the cold.
Oh,
yeah.
It's not going away.
Doing its thing. I hate, there's some, already journals coming out thinking that we need to prepare for an endemic, and I think that's honestly what we need to be doing. So,
what's an endemic?
That is just going to be living among us, until they can come up with some really great science to figure out how to kick it out.
So,
think about flu shots. Like people get those every year because it's different every year. This is going to be. I think it'll migrate. I think it'll mutate the same way and have to have different COVID vaccines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's possible.
Am I going to have to wear a face mask the rest of my life?
That's also somewhat possible. I don't know.
Good gravy. I hate those things.
Brian Little says, just like the flu, it's here to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, ending on a good note. That's great.
Yep. You're welcome.
Well, thank you again. I appreciate it. We'll let you go. Thanks, Brittany, for coming on.
Thank you so much. You guys have a great night.
Thank you. You too.
You too.
All right, guys. So next week, Wendy's versus Zaxby's. Do we want to even think about kind of what our predictions are? Do we want to mention that, or do we want to just...
I think it's, I'm a big Zaxby's fan. I'm going to say that up front.
Yeah.
I like Zaxby's too.
Yeah. It'll be interesting.
I like their whole menu, I think, more than Chick-fil-A.
So is it me? But I'm thinking it should be like the restaurants that specialize in chicken should do better than the restaurants that specialize in hamburgers.
You would think so.
I was kind of expecting, Chick-fil-A to do better than McDonald's. So are we going to be doing better? Zaxby's will do better than
Wendy's because they're the burger.
Than Wendy's.
You would think.
Yeah.
Wendy's does a pretty good. They've been doing chicken sandwiches well for a long time, I feel like.
Who has?
Wendy's. They've done some pretty good. They've got some crazy chickens. That's what they're like.
Yeah.
They're almost like Arby's in some ways. They have this crazy pretzel pub chicken sandwich with the onions and beer sauce or something on there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we got to go just the normal. But if you think about it, McDonald's, Wendy's, KFC, kind of Popeyes, they all have said this is our new chicken sandwich. So they've looked at it.
Yep.
Kind of got it like they liked it and then released it. So we should be playing with at least the top tier of their...
Well, they looked at what Popeyes did and said, let's make that sandwich.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So next week, we also have Tanya Thompson. She did 100... Tanya Thompson did 100 days of bourbon on Instagram. She's going to join us. There may be tastings. There may be some other fun things. So you'll want to definitely tune in for that. So we appreciate her coming on next week. Gentlemen, anything else we want to add? Going once, going twice.
I don't think so.
We're good.
Thanks again for tuning in. And as always, keep looking up.